All right, let's see if we can get up. We're up. Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, August 26th, 2025. It's now 10 a.m. We're here for the regular session of the Hunt County Commissioners Court. This time I'll call the meeting to order and ask Commissioner Smith to lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our flags.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day. We thank you for the blessings of life. We thank you for the opportunities you bestowed upon us. We ask you today that you give us the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding that it takes to make the best decisions for our county, for our people, and we do it all in your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, everyone. We have Commissioner Hutchins, Monroe, Smith, and Harrison present. I'm Judge Stovall presiding over the meeting. Commissioners, you got the minutes from August 12th, 2025 regular session. Entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Minutes from August 18th, 2025 special session. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll have public testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. The Commissioners Court cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Concerns will be addressed by county staff. They may be placed on a future agenda or addressed by some other course of response. Does anybody wish to speak today at this time, or you want to wait till the budget time if that's what you're speaking about? It's up to you. Come on.
Good morning, Court. Terry Driggers, 1596 County Road 3128. This morning, I just want to come and say, after 30 years of watching this court, I'm probably the most disappointed that I've ever been in this court. I also want to just ask 3 men of this court, Hutchins, Monroe, and Gary, to try to do the right thing and lead this county in the right way, because I feel strongly that others aren't capable of doing that. I believe there's special interest in this court. I believe there'll be money for special interest in this court. I believe we support our sheriff, our deputies, and our county employees. I think our judge has failed us the last several years. I've been quiet. I've stayed away, mostly because of this man right here and retaliation that he is good at, Mr. Hutchins, but I'll deal with that in another matter. My wife now is retired from the county, so I feel like I can stand and not have to worry about her being picked on, harassed, or messed with. That's not you in a normal sense. Not you at all. But I know you know. But that's not your character. I know you better than that. I know you better than what's happening now. We may not speak, we may not talk or have one thing to do with each other, but I know the real you, and this ain't it. So guys, the 3 of you, Monroe, Hutchins, it's up to you guys. Smith, we have to put our trust in you right now to take a stand for this county. Tell this one no, this one no. He can't even budget his own budget. We'll get to that in 2026. But gentlemen, we need you 3 right now more than we've ever needed. Ever. We need you 3 men to take a stand right now in this room, behind closed doors, wherever it is, and I'm leaning on you hard because the jury's still out on you and what's being said about you and him. So you got to prove yourself. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak? Not, I'll close public testimony. Commissioners, under old business, action items, number 1, discuss and possibly act on award a formal proposal number 260-25 pauper burial cremation contract. Recommendations of the pauper burial cremation committee is to award Love and Integrity Cremation Services. The committee determined that Love and Integrity Funeral Cremation Services met all the mandatory requirements, provided competitive pricing, and demonstrated the ability to provide dignified and timely services for indigent decedents. Contract term effective August 12th, 2025 through August 11th, 2026, with the option to renew for 4 additional years annually. Maximum contract term 5 years total, ending no later than August 11th, 2030. Commissioners, we passed on this last time to look at it a little deeper. My concern is still the same. The low price on both of these are currently are very close to what we're currently paying, and it's with all of the funeral homes have been honoring what we've had in place. And my concern is if we give it to one at the same price we're paying, what happens when we don't have enough service? If we have to have more than one at a given time, or if we have other issues, I think what we've been doing seems like we have a fair price because that's what the low bid was, and just leave it like it is and let the JPs call the one that will come out there. And if they don't want to do it for the price, I guess they may not have to respond. That's my take on it. It's up to y'all. Decide what y'all want to do. We can approve it and award it to one, or we can leave it like it is and let everybody still have a shot at the business. And particularly we're giving it to one in Greenville. What happens when it's over in Commerce or Quinlan or somewhere else and longer to get there, and we're cutting somebody out in another part of the county instead of letting everybody do it at the current rates?
Can this not work like like road materials, where we have a number of vendors who've bid on it, the pricing that's accepted, and
That's what we got right now.
one?
That's what we got right now.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Why don't we stay with that? Why don't we just stay where we're at? We put it out for pricing, and the pricing is in line with what we already have.
Mm-hmm.
So why would we change and give it to just one? Why not let them all have it? To your point exactly, that's what we have.
We obviously want to save money where possible, but we need to make sure that we also receive a level of service as well with that.
I agree. Y'all have looked at all the proposals like I have. They're real close to being the same thing, if not the same.
These don't come out of the JP's budgets, they're departmental budgets. There's a separate line item.
Yeah, there's a separate, it didn't come out of the JP. It comes out of general government, I believe.
Should we consider, is it possible even to divide, to budget that through their departments? Just take the number we have and look at historical trends to divide it between their individual departments, so that way they kind of they have some skin in the game in managing that.
You talking about the JPs?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know, Mary, is that a problem? Shouldn't be a problem. Only concern I would have is, I don't know that helps us that much, but it could. It's worth a try, I guess. I'm not opposed to it. I don't know how the JPs feel about that.
Daniel, do we need to make a decision today, or can we take that question and potentially reallocate in the budget if we were wanting to look at what that would, see what that would look like?
You can postpone this to a later board.
Court, is that what y'all want to do?
Yeah, and if we're looking at maybe delaying it, then maybe another question is, can we honor the competitive process and then use a first right of refusal? Like I say, if it's Greenville versus Commerce, the guy who had the low bid gets the first call, then they can choose to take the job or not the job, and then it defaults to one of the others. Is that a feasible thing?
Well, you can, but it's generally not the court that makes that decision. It's a separate elected office, and you can't control what they do.
Yeah.
Well, Gary, I guess what I was saying, I think that one of them, I know one of them's a low bid is in Quinlan, the other one's in Greenville. If something happens in Commerce, how long is it gonna take them to even get there? Yeah, we got somebody in Commerce that's been agreeing to this, basically same prices. The way we've always been, since I've been here 6 years, we've always just had the amount of money we'd pay for the cremations and the burials and the transportation to the morgue or to medical examiner. And these prices came back, the low bids were close to those same numbers. So if we just, my concern, if we isolate it to one, is it gonna slow down everything, not get the one closest to you? And to your point, I mean, if you're in Commerce and Commerce can't get there, then they'd have to call somebody from somewhere else, so.
Judge, does this go out for bid annually, or can it go out for bid?
First time
annually?
we've done it since I was here.
All right.
It was all spurred by the two low bidders, I think, were the two that has tried to charge us over $5,000 when our fee is $900 over some. That's why I think that's what pushed us to put it out to bid, to see if our numbers were that far off, and they came back. These two are the low bidders, and they're the ones that were complaining and raising their prices.
Maybe we just honor the bidding process, accept the bid. And Daniel, I think I'm correct to say if we have any service issues, we can come back and rebid it, or just reevaluate annually, see if that,
You can definitely come back and rebid, and, I mean, what you're talking about would go in the final contract.
because we've had similar issues before, say with the rock hauling contract, I won't name names, but where we were having trouble getting service there. And so I think we were able to resolve that or kind of get through to the next bidding cycle. But if there's a service issue, then we can go out and rebid it. But if the service is good and the prices are the lowest, then that's the best case scenario.
Even though it's the same price we're currently giving, I mean, that's my problem. Both of these low ones have tried to knock our head off and tried to collect way more money than what the agreement we've always had and what we've always paid. And now they come back in at that same rate, but they wanted to charge. That rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't know their rationale behind it, but maybe just being
Yeah,
subject
I
to
don't
the
either.
bidding process.
I don't know the rationale either, but it bothers me a lot.
Do
What
we
are they
have-
going to do to us
do we
next?
have
Are
a
they going to
pub-
do the same thing again?
Do we have a public comment on that?
Thanks, Judge, for having me up here. Anthony Alvarado, I'm with Ingram Funeral Home. My family's taking that funeral home over. Yes, the price that the county is currently give us has not been in line with what's been going on. I don't know what these two funeral homes did to bid to allow the committee to contract, because I know my price is definitely probably higher than them. Love and integrity. All the funeral homes that put in proposals will be great as far as services and things of that nature. I have my own opinion about the proposals because reading what we have to do for the community as far as transportation, which is a separate proposal, and the pauper cremations is another separate proposal. While our funeral home meets those requirements, I believe the committee might have overlooked a requirement on one of them. We are contracted through Love and Integrity to handle their cremations. We also have the facility to store our loved ones for the period of time that the contract requires for the county to do their investigations for pauper burials and cremations. Love and Integrity, their facility is a little bit smaller. While they do have a place to store, it's going to fall onto me to handle their caseload, which means I'm going to have to charge them more than what I'm doing now just for their cremations, because I'm going to have to store that person's loved one for another funeral home. I don't know. I do know that two other funeral homes probably didn't put in proposals, at least that I was told, because they felt that they would be overpriced to try to save the community money. I don't know what else to say. I was kind of surprised to see these two funeral homes be chosen, in my opinion, but because I haven't seen them up here since we've been discussing this since April. So, and right now, I still have loved ones that have been with me since about June now because of we're trying to get this all tied up. So that's the only comment that I have so far. So
Thank you.
you welcome.
Want to take it up later? You want to take action on it? What's the pleasure?
I would be good to take it up later. I'm torn.
They work on both items then? Item 1 and 2, both the same thing, so. It's all right, we just anybody object to postponing? We'll table both of them, table 1 and 2 both. We need a motion for that, Daniel? Entertain a motion for postponing items 1 and 2 under old business.
So moved?
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action number 7, new business consent calendar. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action B, action items. Approval of accounts payable.
Motion to approve payables.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of line item transfers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of budget amendments.
Move to adopt budget amendments?
Second.
Got a motion to second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of payroll and personnel.
Motion to approve payroll and personnel.
Second?
Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Are we ready for Spyglass? Action item 1, a presentation by the Spyglass Group. They're going to come online. Gary, you going to help introduce this? You're more into it than I am.
So the service this company offers is one where it looks at your cell phone usage, your connections, your internet usage. Is everything being used? Are the correct rates being applied to your fees and bills, and do an assessment of that? The simple answer is I have had experience with this in the past in previous jobs, and had great success with it. They do offer the service the first 2 months, give you a quick look before they ask you to engage and spend money with them, and give you a quick feel. So you can correct anything I said there, Luke.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I appreciate you guys taking some time to hear me out. Yeah, fairly well said. I mean, what our company is, guys, we're a specialized auditing firm. We've worked with hundreds of city and county government in Texas, thousands across the country. We look to identify savings, billing errors, overcharges, inefficiencies, pricing improvements, really anything we can do to bring about a savings within your current technology recurring vendor costs. So AT&T, phone bills, internet, mobile, we can do cloud and SaaS too. And ultimately, we look to recover dollars that carriers have overbilled, bring refunds back to the county, identify inefficiencies, unused, excessive, redundant services. And then we have the largest mid-market database of tech spending in the country for those types of services. So we don't recommend like provider switches or anything that reinvents the wheel. It's just looking to make sure that the rates that you guys are getting for your current services are cost competitive to what we've seen with thousands of other cities and counties using those same types of services. So, well said though. I mean, 100% success-based fee structure. We identify the savings, do the analysis at no cost to the county, bring you guys back essentially elective recommendations that will review all of the research, the data, quantifiable opportunities to cut cost. And then all of those are elective, a la carte menu style. The county would pick and choose the recommendations that make sense. Our team does the work. We work with the carriers on your behalf to correct the issues and verify your savings. The only way we're compensated is a portion of your savings. So hopefully that makes sense. Any questions on anything?
Luke, what's the length of time that you get a portion of our savings?
So a couple of ways it breaks down. So retroactive savings are just a one-time savings to the county. Like any refund you've ever gotten back, our fee is just a 50-50 split. So the more money we can bring you back, we're very much tied at the hip with you guys. We're going to try to get you as much as possible. So our fee would just be that one-time fee. And then for anything on a forward-looking basis, which would not be a billing error, so not recoverable, so an unused service, if we find a phone line that's been getting paid for the last 3 years without any usage at all, we identify that and the county determines that's a good catch. We don't need that anymore. Let's eliminate it. Where you're going to see those savings annually, year after year, by obviously removing that recurring monthly cost. Our fee would be a budget neutral 12-month ROI. So at no additional budgetary cost to the county, we're going to identify these issues, fix those problems. Our fees are all paid out of those same dollars that we're paying the carrier. Year 2, we're off your books. 100% of those savings generated go to the county. Year 2, year 3, forever on after that.
And what would be the initial support you would need from the county for your analysis?
Pretty basic. I'd send you guys an upload link to our secure FTP site. It would really just be your most recent 2 months of billing statements. We'll pull contracts, customer service records. We'll request all of that stuff from the carriers directly with a letter of agency. And once we have those billing materials, we usually do a quick call to review your goals for the project. And obviously I already spoke with, Mr. Brand a good bit about kind of what he's got going on, go over kind of how we'll customize our solutions before we even start. That meeting takes 15, 20 minutes tops. And then the analysis we do all back at our headquarters. So we're pretty quiet for about 4-5 weeks, just depending on how much billing there is for us to get through. So usually about a month, we're building out all these analytics, research, and then ultimately coming back to just present those findings. But I would say 90% of the ask would just be however long it would take to drag and drop your most recent 2 months of billing statements.
Any other questions?
Gary, do we know approximately how many devices this service would be potentially applied to?
I don't know. Brendan's not here. I don't know if you have any insight. I don't know what the total number is, no.
Yeah, I don't believe I have that in my notes either. I know he did mention that he thought the mobile devices would be one of the better opportunities here. I think a lot of that stuff is through like AT&T, some Verizon, and some AT&T FirstNet.
And to make sure I heard correctly, the analysis would be completed and a recommendation made, and we would then have the option to accept or decline that at that point.
Correct. Yeah, there's kind of 2 scenarios where we don't earn a fee. One, if we don't find anything. Obviously, we can't invent savings out of thin air, but we average about a 25% savings for our public sector clients. It's about more than half our customer base. Also, if we find no savings, there's no fee. If you guys don't like any of our recommendations, there's no fee. So it's a rare scenario that if there's savings, that nothing makes sense. I've been doing this for 13 years. I've done well over 1,000 of these, and there's usually some no-brainers in there. I don't see customers turn down refunds that they're owed. Something's already been paid in error to a carrier. We'll do all the work, bring you guys back some credits. But yeah, we make them elective for a reason. Not every recommendation is a perfect fit for every customer. So it's always going to be up to you guys to make those decisions.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Luke.
No problem. Appreciate you guys.
You bet. Any other discussion or?
Not for me. If there's no other discussion, I would make a motion. So I'll make a motion that we perform the 2-month trial run with Spyglass and follow up at that point with their findings.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, action item 2, discuss and possibly take action on naming private drive off FM 2101 in Precinct 3. I don't even know how to say that word. Fakeski Road, due to 911 addressing property is being split. Boy, that won't be duplicated. Oh, it's not being split? Oh, yeah, you're right, not being split. This is one that's got multiple houses on it, and instead of having confusion of a county road number and all have the same address with an A or a B on it, they're doing it by a separate name.
Yeah, this actually is something that would have been best if it had already been done, so I think it's a good thing to go do.
Yeah.
So I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item 3, the request for permission to do work within the county right-of-way at County Road 4109 in Precinct 4 under normal stipulations.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 4, the request for permission to do work within the county right-of-way at 4497 County Road 4506 in Precinct 4 under normal stipulations.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 5, the replat of Lot 4 of Clear Vista Estates in Precinct 3. Brian, you gonna brief us?
Okay, this is a replat. Clear Vista Estates. It was a large lot starting out. They're proposing to split it into 4 lots. Road is requiring an upgrade, but it meets all of our county specs. There were no special notes on the face of the original plat that would cause this not to happen.
Okay. Any questions before we open up the public hearing?
No money in escrow at this point because we're not that far along, right?
They have signed the escrow trust agreement, yes.
Is there a timeline for when they're wanting this done? Just ASAP kind of thing?
When it can be done.
Okay.
They put the money up also, the agreement and the money?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
All right. At this time, I'll open it up to public comments. Anybody here who wishes to speak for or against this is welcome to come forward.
I believe there is.
Okay. Come forward and state your name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Shelby Petty. I am a homeowner on 1740 County Road 2292. I've lived here since I was about 10 years old. I have 8 of my neighbors here with me today, in which I'm speaking on behalf of. The proposed changes on Lot 4 of Clear Vista Estates will negatively impact our neighborhood. The following is a short list of reasons why I'm protesting. Drainage and flooding. Changing the lot layout could affect natural drainage patterns. Sorry, I'm nervous. They've already started filling in ponds, which is causing our road to flood every time it rains. Neighborhood and character. This replat would significantly alter the character of our neighborhood, which has been historically quiet and peaceful. No one protested last time this happened, and we all regret it. Renters have come in that are not background checked, which causes concerns to our 13 young children that live on our road. Increased density would lead to more traffic on already narrow or busy road. Renters have no respect for our road or the speed limit. We have seen visitors go easily 50 miles per hour on our 15-mile-an-hour road. And as you can see, I am expecting another child, which would be 14 children. I respectfully urge the commission to deny the replat request or require a more thorough environmental and community impact review. Thank you for considering our concerns.
What was your lot number again, please?
I'm sorry?
What lot number are you?
I'm not sure the lot number.
Where do you live in relation to these lots?
2 houses down.
Okay. To the west, east?
To the left.
As you're facing it? Okay. Thank you. So they get all the traffic in front of their house then? Yeah.
Brian, have we done any consideration on the environmental concerns? I know a lot of this is about what happens with the land next door, but is there anything they're doing environmentally that we have looked at last?
There's nothing that they're doing that would trigger any kind of county action or county interaction. This place had 4 or 5 big ponds on it. There was very little property that was dry dirt on the lot. They came in, I don't know when, they started sometime back before they had ever submitted the plat, filling the ponds. This subdivision doesn't have any kind of civil engineering plans that we have record of. This subdivision was done a long time back. I doubt there were any civil engineering plans. So I can't say if these ponds were drainage features that were designed in for the subdivision. I kind of doubt it just because of how they were. They weren't your typical detention ponds. They looked more like fishing ponds, kind of rough edges and cut out. They had docks and piers and gazebos in them and things like that. So I don't know if these ponds were dug after the subdivision was put in, or during the subdivision
What's
construction.
the size of the ponds?
Well, the entire
Are they
lot.
tanks, or are they, ponds? 1 acre, 2 acre?
The entire track is 6.7 acres. I would say that the ponds probably covered 60 to 70% of that lot before they started filling them. And of course, if the people wanted to fill the ponds on their private property, we don't have a whole lot of ability to stop them unless, if they start causing flooding on other properties, we don't really have anything that we could do. That would be more of a civil type matter.
Do we have the ability to ask for a study to be done on it, the effect of that before?
With
filling?
4 lots? No.
No?
If there has already been flooding issues as a result of this, are we not able to require mitigation of some kind?
The ponds were filled before they submitted the plat. So they already started filling the ponds. They had them all pretty much filled by the time I got involved and went out and looked at it.
How will these lot sizes fit with the rest of it? Are these going to be the only small ones in there, or there's a mixture of small and larger ones?
So this subdivision originally had a wide array of lot sizes. You had some lots that were 10 acres and better. You had some that were 5 acres, and then some that were down to around 4 acres, it seems like.
So going to acre and a half is abnormal for it.
Somewhat abnormal for the community. There's been a couple of other replats done that were divided into smaller lots. The thing is like this lot was originally part of one of the big 10-acre lots. Well, that thing's been divided up about 3 or 4 different times since then, never replatted. They just
Meets and bounds.
they let them divide it by meets and bounds over the years. There again, it's an old subdivision, so it's just kind of a strange area. It's not necessarily out of character for the area, maybe a little out of character for this road, for this street that it's on.
Do you know if there's been communication between the developer and the residents to try and resolve concerns?
None that I'm aware of. Now, I have received a call or an email from one person concerning, stating pretty much the same issues that she had. You're creating small lots, you're increasing traffic, things such as that, concerned with drainage and concerned with just everything that happens with development, everything that's affected by development, drainage and road traffic and increased dust.
But one of the things most people don't like about growth, right? That's
what
More traffic.
well, that's what none of us like about
Yeah.
the
So, but-
development of the county. It's
So
the
the part
increase
that
in everything.
that I'm really trying to understand is if I've got 60 to 70% of the land was prior covered with lakes and filling those in, I really would like to know if those were detention lakes in any manner before we took that
Well,
step. After that, I don't think the county has a play in this game, but Daniel, is that a fair request?
Yes, it's definitely a fair request. In order to do that, based on the new laws that have come out over the past 2 sessions and the way that our subdivision regulations are set up, in order to do that, you would need to make a motion to postpone this to a specific meeting. And I don't know how long that will take, but you need to postpone it to a specific meeting because today is the hearing date. And that provides public notice to the public about when it's going to be reconsidered. And then you need to say specifically in the motion what you would like to see before that comes back before the court. And so what you're talking about is like floodplain mitigation, basically, and other water impacts. Basically, impact to the rights of the established rights of the other subdivision property owners. And if you do that, that will take care of that. Otherwise, the only decisions that you can make under the current law and the subdivision regulations is either to approve or deny. So you can only approve, deny, or postpone with specific things that you're asking for to come back to the court.
If we deny, is there a time period before they can resubmit?
I don't know. I'd have to look back at the subdivision regulations.
Okay.
If you deny, there's a process that they can appeal the denial, take it to one of the higher courts, and then it goes on from there, just as any denial. Now, one issue that you're going to have, these ponds are filled. They have already been filled. To get historical data on them, depths and elevations on them might be difficult. And there again, we don't have any kind of civil plans on it, so there's no way of telling if these were designed as detention ponds. There again, the way the lot looked originally isn't very characteristic for detention. It's more characteristic for someone who went in and dug fishing ponds on their property, just because of the way they looked and the way they were shaped, the way they fit in together. But anyway, there's some of the facts, and I can get you the historical photos that I have, which don't go back very far. Ponds have been there for some time, but they did typically hold water. There were some detention characteristics on them, obviously, because all ponds have the ability to fill up and hold water and keep it from flooding onto others. But whether they were designed or not, that may not be something that could be determined.
Ryan, I had a question. This showing County Road 2292. Is that precinct 2? It's showing on here precinct 3.
Oh, she did get on precinct 3. No, that is precinct 2. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is one, David, that you and I have spoken about several times.
Commissioner, what do you think about it?
I was gonna say, Commissioner, I'll pass the questions to you.
Yeah.
Hey, good questions from precinct 3. Thank you.
On this, whenever, like, if they meet all the road frontage and the requirements, how do we say no to it? I mean, I'm not saying I'm gonna say no or yes right now, but. Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we have another one back, another individual wants to speak to.
Okay. State your name and address, please.
Yasmin Paez, 1678 County Road 2292. I'm at the cul-de-sac at the end of the road. I have actually drove in this property when I first moved there about 3 years ago. This property was open, it was never closed. They barely added a fence. So they did have a lot of ponds, a lot of fish, because we used to fish there. It floods really, really bad. On to the next property over, he has to keep his grass tall enough to hold all of the water. His grass doesn't even get cut no more because of how much water when it rains. Our cars hardly go through those rocks down that road. They've never kept this land maintained. So when they cut it and they decide to cut it, it's gonna be rats coming to our house. Not even just rats, mice, other things that are in the property. This grass is tall. If they can't maintain it now, what's to say when they split it up, they're gonna maintain that road? I really hope y'all don't approve it in the fact of that everyone in this street is family and we all consider ourselves family. We have new babies coming. She's gonna have a baby, so what if you have another hearing? We're not gonna be able to be here to speak on that. My sister-in-law just had a baby. So it's just a lot. Like, how are they gonna keep the rats from going after they cut this land? They're not. So it's gonna infest people's houses. It's just gonna be a lot on people. I really truly feel that flooding is not gonna go away. Those ponds were deep, really deep. They had bridges and let me say, when it rained, it rained. And we drove our four-wheelers through there, and it's pretty bad. And you might not be able to see it now that the grass is so tall, but the rain is probably still there. So I really hope y'all do not approve that.
So it's got a lot of water going across it, and these ponds were built at some, do they have huge dams on them, or are they hauling dirt in from somewhere else?
We haven't seen them bring any dirt in. We haven't seen them bring trucks. I know that the water pipes always bust there. Cash water is always out on that property, especially on the main road. Those pipes always are busting there.
Does the pond have great big dams around it, or is it pretty flat into the ground?
No, they were dig.
They were dug and had
Yeah.
a dam around it. Okay, so they could just push that back in if they filled them.
And then
Have you
they
been in there? Yeah, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Judge, I'm not familiar with this property. It's not my precinct. This is the first time I've heard of it. And unfortunately, the property rights, we honor them, and sometimes it means we can't say no to things we don't like. I will say in this case, just pulling up the satellite image of this property shows a lot of water in those ponds, big ponds with dams, with driveways across them. So is it out of bounds or out of our authority, Brian, if we postpone at least to try and look at the drainage and see what?
Or can we require a drainage study because it's a replat?
The ponds weren't there when they submitted.
They already
The
filled
ponds are
them?
gone. They've already
Oh,
filled the
okay.
ponds. They've proposed to keep 2 ponds here.
But the other ones are gone. So
The
there's
other
more
ones are
than
gone.
2.
The ones that you see on this plat is nothing compared to what there were. I mean, the entire property was
Wow.
was pond. Like I said, there was probably a couple of acres that was not underwater on the property, and that's areas between ponds and everything else.
Okay, we got one other who wants to speak. If you come forward and state your name and address, please, ma'am.
Good morning, judges. My name is Ray Ann Gilly. I live at 1885 County Road, 2292, Quinlan, Texas, 75474. I also live on Lot 11 in Clear Vista Estates. I'm probably the oldest person, my husband and I, that originally bought into this that is still there. We moved down there we bought the land in 1982 when they first started selling lots. The lot 4 that they're discussing was bought the second time after we had already moved there. The landowner sold it. Another landowner bought it. He is the one that put the ponds on there, and this was in like 1986. He built the ponds because his land continually floods. It was a terraced wheat field, and his land, where his house was, would constantly flood. So he built all of these ponds. They're deep. They weren't just fishing ponds, but he made it look nice, and they were deep. And it did cut down on the amount of flooding across the road into the neighbors across from him, which is lot 13. It cut down on that flooding quite a lot. It still floods and it crosses the road, but it wasn't as bad as it was. They filled in these ponds a few months ago. They pushed the trees into the pond. They pushed whatever dirt they could find into the ponds. And they did not fill the ponds up all the way. They're just waiting on a good rain to wash the dirt down into the holes.
Between the trees.
From the trees.
Yeah.
And I have a concern. I mean, I believe that you should be able to do what you want to with your own land, but I also believe, are they going to tell the people that they're selling this land to that they're going to build their homes or set their trailers on top of a pond that's going to sink in? I don't know, because these people have never discussed anything with any of us since they've been there. They acted like they were filling it, that they were, first they came out and started mowing it, and then all of a sudden they quit. Then they come back a year later and they'll push some more stuff around, mow it. Then they came out this year and started pushing stuff in all the ponds and trying to cover it up. And I don't think that it's big enough for 4 lots. It's gonna make them like 1.5 acres per lot. And we already have a guy up the road that bought probably 6 acres up there that is putting trailer houses right next door to each other. And I don't understand how they can even do that. They didn't ask to replot that land. They just started moving them in, and
So they're renting them probably?
I'm not sure. These people don't ever speak. They just run up and down the road. So I don't really know what they did, but that would be lot 2.
Okay.
And they're putting them on the road, so all these single wide trailers are like maybe 10 foot between the trailers that they've already put in. They're putting 2 more in, but they've only put in 2 so far.
Okay.
And I don't know, I just got a new septic system at our house. We've lived there, you know, we've had it since 1982. So we upgraded ours, and we had to come to the county, get the permit and all of that. We had to have our septic tank designed, and they told us that we had to have our spray nozzles 30 feet away from the next property and stuff. And I don't see 30 foot on these houses. Maybe they don't even have septic tanks, I don't know. But I just feel like maybe you need to make him responsible for telling the people that's gonna buy his property that they're building their home on top of a pond.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hang on, Brian. You got another one want to speak?
Hi, my name's Rhonda Dunlap, and I live at 1864 County Road 2292. And I live in the property that's right in front of that property that they're wanting to replat. And our property, we own 2.23 acres, or 2.33 acres, and that back part of our property is flooded all the time from them. I mean, it takes us forever to be able to mow our grass because the water just sits in our yard, and you can't get a zero turn around it. You can't do anything. And like they said, everything's gonna, like all the rodents are gonna start coming. There's gonna be snakes. We moved out there in 2018 because we wanted that country feel. Like we wanted the acreage, we wanted the close-knit neighbors that we all have. We look out for one another. And those renters that they're talking about, they do drive like crazy up and down that road. And they shouldn't, because we have children. I have grandchildren that come and visit. And I just think that you should not let this happen, because we're trying to keep what country we do have and not get crime-ridden in our neighborhood and have a bunch of vandalism start. That's all.
No, thank you.
I had one question.
Ma'am?
Miss, you said you had water standing in your backyard. Did that happen after the ponds were filled in, or has always been a level of water back
It's
there?
gotten worse since they filled the ponds in.
Okay, thank you.
Come ahead.
Sorry, I'm the one that just had the baby 5 days ago. I live at 1676 County Road 2292. I'm at the very end
Your
of
name,
the road.
please?
Brittany Brooks.
Thank you.
I'm at the very end of the road. So I get all the turnarounds. I get all the people who, oh, we missed your house, we're turning around. And the end of our road turns into a private road. It's not part of the county road. People still turn around in it, which, I mean, it's okay, but you 4 more houses, 4 more rows of traffic, people coming, parking down the road. But also we don't think these ponds are fully filled in. Last time we seen them, before the grass is 8 foot tall now, they weren't fully filled in. So I don't know how they filled them in so fast, or through all the rain that we've had. I don't know what's going on with that. But we get all the traffic. The people next to us are the ones that put the 2 mobile homes already, and they're going to put 2 more. It's been HE6. And y'all approved that. You're trying to take a small town or a small road with almost all of our neighbors besides 3 are all here, and turn it into like a community. We don't need renters in and out with all of our kids. I mean, our kids, there's 4 houses of us. Our kids go back and forth, walk to each other's house, ride their 4-wheelers to each other's houses. We have all this traffic now. These people going 50 down our road. I mean, and y'all approved that. We didn't know about
So if those are being put all in one lot, we didn't approve any of that.
We got a letter to come protest it, but we didn't know, or it was like we got the dates mixed up or something, but it was
For a
approved.
plat or for septic permit?
I think it was for us to come over here to protest against it. But we didn't end up coming because I don't know if I had to work in office that day or what, but it's right next to us. Replat. Yeah.
For this one or for the other
For
one?
the one that's next to me that we already missed that chance.
Okay.
And now we're dealing with the repercussions of that. And understand people can do whatever they want, but the thing is, I don't know if it's about greed or what, but they're going to end up renting to these people, making their money off of it, and affecting our whole road, our kids. What if they're pedophiles? You're not doing background checks on these people. They're not doing background checks on the people next to us, because I can tell you right now, they're definitely not, with the traffic they have in and out. But I just take that into consideration. You're taking a country road with kids running, and it's not a suburb. It's a little country road with all these little kids, and you're wanting to take that and make it into a subdivision, and let's rent out to all these renters. You're taking away this life of all these kids. I mean, it's a part of their childhood, and it's being affected. They can't be in the road. These people have to slow down. It's not good. And if you just sit there, we get all the traffic from it. It's up to y'all, but.
Well, we understand, and I greatly respect what you're saying. Unfortunately, the state ties our hands. There's not a whole lot we can do. We're looking. That's why we're talking about what can we do? Can we do something legally to stop this for now? And I don't know that we have the ability to do it, but we're going to try. That's what we're trying to do. We're listening to you. We want to try to help you, but we may have our hands tied and we don't have any choice.
I just don't know. Then why are we here? Why are we here to protest this if we don't have a choice?
I understand.
We got
it's
all
the law.
neighbors.
We have to do it. Daniel, you can address.
I need to talk to Mike. So the reason you're here is because the state law allows or requires, and the county's policies require, that notice be sent out of the subdivision replats. In this case, there's a very specific standard that has to be met, and one of those standards is it's not going to have any impact on the established rights of the other owners in the subdivision. I think what you're hearing today is that the people who are here talking believe that it will have an impact on their established rights. Now, the question is whether or not what our rules say still matters, because the legislature for the past 4 sessions in a row has taken authority away from counties and cities to enforce their own subdivision requirements. I think if you read just the subdivision requirements as they stand right now, this would be an easy denial based on the policy that the commissioners have already adopted, and not because of the flooding. That's a completely separate issue. This issue is whether the subdivision replat will have any effect on their rights. And those are 2 separate issues. I'm saying it would be an easy denial because at a minimum, it's going to have an impact on the traffic in front of their houses and on other things related to the effluent that comes from the OSSF systems. And so, number one, there's an impact. Number two, there's a requirement that the commissioners consider whether every other owner has approved of the replat. And I don't know if any of them have. So, because of the position the county's in, where there's one set of rules which have been adopted by the county and another set that's been hoisted on you by the legislature, I think that the only reasonable thing to do at this point is to move to postpone action on that to the next meeting so that those two things can be investigated. Number one, the impact on their property rights, which I mean, I can't tell you objectively what that is right now. And number two, whether or not this replat, given the change in the flooding issues because the pond was filled in, whether or not it meets even the most basic requirement, which is replats can't be granted unless they meet the original platting requirements. Original platting requirements required that there be appropriate drainage. And there's pages and pages and pages of our rules and state rules that apply to what that means. But until looking into it further, that is by itself a standalone basis for at least a temporary postponement of any action on this until at least the next meeting.
Okay. All right. Mr. Sir, you had a hand up. You want to come up and speak? Well, we want to hear from you.
You will.
I bet we will.
My name's Charles Gilly. I live at 1885 County Road 2292. I've lived there for like 29 years, just like my wife said. My thing is, this place that we're talking about is in a floodplain. I don't know, y'all know that or not, but I've lived there long enough, I've seen it. Does it not only flood our road, it floods the next county road over and the people on down from there? If the county wants to go out there when it comes a good rain, go for it. You'll see what we're talking about. I live on the corner of 36 in that road, and it floods. That man that owned that was a good friend of mine. He's passed. But he dug those ponds to keep the water from getting under his house. His house used to flood terribly. And just like these young ladies back here, I've known them since they were little girls. And they're not kidding. That road gets underwater. That grass is so tall over there now, you can't even see yourself. Excuse me. But, you know, it used to be a private road. And now it's a county road, which that's okay, I guess. But we used to keep that road pretty good shape. Probably better now than the county does. And I think the county's responsible for mowing the bar ditches too, aren't they, in Hunt County? Well, I got pictures. Would you like to see them?
We've got them all over the county this year with all the rain.
Okay.
They're having a hard time getting them all done.
I'm just saying. I
understand.
And those culverts across that road, I helped put them in several years ago. And we added a culvert to it to try to slow it from backing up on the property. And it helped some, but not enough. But it's a sad day, and you know where, for people that think they can come in and buy a section of land and do what the hell they want to with it. I think it's wrong. And that's really all I got to say. But there is a such thing as a nuisance law in the state of Texas. And I'm sure you're aware of that, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know what? You may be a lot more busier.
Well, I won't be. I don't hear criminal cases. I don't hear any cases. You'll get to visit somebody else.
But I'm
an
just saying,
administrative judge.
You've got places that's got junk cars and everything else and high grass. That's wrong. And then you want to put in renters, that's even worse. For people that own their property and their kids go to school, and it's ridiculous what's happening here today.
I appreciate your comments, sir. Thank you
Well,
very much.
I'm done. Have a good one.
All right, commissioners are advised by our attorney is to postpone it until the next, or table it, either one, the same word.
I would delay taking action until executive sessions, we go over the legal parameters of that.
Okay.
But I think it's important that all these people that are here, put their name and contact information on a contact sheet, so that they can be contacted so we can ask those questions.
Jess, can you take care of that for us? All right, so we'll come back out and postpone it, or what, get the terminology to postpone it after we do an executive session and talk about the wording.
If that's the direction of the court, you can either approve, deny, or postpone to a specific date.
But you think we ought to wait till after the, okay?
Yes.
All right, so is everybody all right with that? Postpone it till after executive session, and we'll come back and take action.
That's what we need to do.
Okay. All right. Okay, action item number 5, fiscal year 25-26 budget. You want to put up the, all right. I had to sit camera. Content, sorry. All right, some of these slides I presented the last time, I've added a few and made some modifications to a few of them. This one, I broke it down into a 10-year period of the growth, and what I was talking about at the last meeting, that if we go back in history from 2010, really up through 2015, 16, we hardly grew at all. The court at that time didn't have the funds to maintain a lot of the properties, to let the vehicles get older. And then in 16 and 17, they finally started getting a little momentum, and by 19, they'd actually gone up 44% over 10 years. So they were still struggling at 19, and that's the Steve Harrison, Commissioner Harrison and I are the two longest serving up here, and we started in 2019. But we were under a budget that was already approved, and that we didn't, at the time we got here, our average vehicle was 18 and a half years old, and we had air conditioners on nearly all the buildings that were in dire need of replacement. They'd been put together with baling wire for a while. And so we had to replace all the air conditioners on top of the courthouse. We had to replace a big one on this one that served 8 sections. It was a big unit. They didn't even make it anymore. We had to pay somebody to build us a new one, and was offline for months getting it done. So we had a lot of deferred maintenance and a lot of expenses to try to catch up on. Plus our salaries, when we got here, a jailer was making $34,000. And we had 20+ vacancies nearly all the time at the jail. So we've had to work over the last few years of trying to get our wages up. We got our deputies were making $40,000 at the time. We had a bunch of vacancies in the sheriff's office. So we've had to work through the years of building up our pay scales so we could hire people. And we've got our scales up now that we're pretty much fully staffed. We'll always have a few vacancies, particularly in the sheriff's arena and the jail and in the law enforcement side of it, but we're staying pretty full now with people because we finally got it to a correct point. And then from 19 to 26, you can see that we've grown 163%, but really 2021 and most of 22 was COVID. And we couldn't get cars. We were trying to still buy cars, still trying to catch up with the past. Couldn't buy a lot of the things we need. We were shut down a lot of the time. So we weren't able to get a whole lot accomplished as far as trying to catch up with the past. Now that we were getting some money in, we were trying to get there, but our hands were kind of tied. We just couldn't get everything done we needed to get done for circumstances beyond our control. And then starting in 23, 24, and up through today, that, you know, we've consistently grown more and more, but in 22, 23, we had gone, I think 24 maybe been the only year that we didn't use a no new revenue rate, and that was just up like a penny. But we couldn't spend all our money in 20, 21, 22 because we weren't open all the time. We didn't have a trial at the courthouse for like a year and a half. So we weren't paying attorneys. We weren't paying, you know, a lot of the expenses involved in it. And so we were having more money. So we were trying to give the money back by doing no new revenue, over budgeting, trying to spend and try to spend the taxpayer money down without going up. And we stayed at that point all but 1 year, and I think that was 24. And then, of course, last year we had a mistake and we had to go to no new revenue rate, and we ended up with a $2.2 million deficit budget. Looks like it's going to be, it's a guesstimate still. We're not at the year end. We're a few $1 million short in revenue, and we're a few $1 million short that we still have to spend. But with where we're at today, we won't make payroll with what's, I think, currently in this year's money, but we'll collect more money over the next 2 months. So we think we'll be pretty close to being kind of at our target on our budget. And then, of course, this year, the proposed tax rate is the 0.339824 on $15,765,000 in value. Over that same time period, from 10 to 20, we grew 16.1% in population, or 13,827 people. Then January 1st to 24, from 20 to 24, January 1st, 24, we grew almost 19,000 people, 18.8% in 4 years, where we grew 16.1 over 10. So we've been trying to catch up with the past, and we're still trying to get to a point where we can start taking care of the growth that's coming at us. The Regional Transportation Council is out of the COG. I happen to serve on that board. It's a 45-member board that sets the kind of the direction of transportation in a 12-county area. Really, there are 16 counties in the region, but there's only 12 that are in the Transportation Council. We share a spot on the board with Rockwall. It's pretty much controlled by Fort Worth and Dallas, but they've done projections. We've just finished and approved a plan for 2025 for transportation, and still working on some details out of that council. But the stats are that currently we're at about $8 million people in the region. By 2050, 25 years, they're projecting 12.4 million people in the region, a 50% growth. They're projecting number of employees is around just under 6 million currently, and it'll go to 8.7 million in 25 years. This is just so you can see this. This on a small, I'm going to show a few slides. It's got this. This is percent change population density. In the regional, you can see these colors. Of course, Hunt County's at the top right. Can everybody see that all right? Is that clear? Of course, around the Caddo Mills area, you're looking at, they're expecting 300% plus growth. And below the interstate, they're projecting 200 to 300% growth. Around Greenville in the southeast quadrant, they're projecting 100 to 200% growth. And then over by the Rockwall County line, you can see that it's from 100 to 300%, depending on the shade of those colors there. And this doesn't even account that we have a project, Wolf Creek. Did Daniel step out? Yes. Wolf Creek, something is, the state gave them an MDD, I think, this last session. MMD, is that what it was? Okay, MMD. And that allows them, hopefully they'll can get in with the city of Greenville, hopefully to get Greenville services, maybe annex it in, not sure what all's gonna happen, but it's over 2,000 acres. They've already bought the big chunk of it. They've built in, I think in Pilot Point and maybe Melissa, and they've done projects, this development company's done projects around Travis County and Bexar County. They're a national company, they're a big outfit. They claim they're coming to build 10,000 homes, a golf course, and a complete community. And they're moving, they're working on it. I don't know how long it'll take them, and you know, it's one of those, we don't know what will happen. But this is a little bit more of a blow up of those color charts of Hunt County. So you can see the southwest quadrant, we're going to experience a tremendous amount of growth over the next 25 years. And it's there. I mean, you can drive up and down I-30. That's why I-30 is being widened to a 6-lane road. That's why the bridge across Ray Hubbard is being widened, and why it's coming. They're working in Rockwall right now to make it 6 lanes all the way to the county line. And then by the time they get that done, we should be ready to bring it on to Monty Stratton is 6 lanes in the next 5 to 10 years. That should be complete. So you can see how much growth we're looking at. And this is just inside the county line, kind of the bottom left-hand corner over there. Bucky's is not too far from there. That's a 918 lot subdivision we got in yesterday from D.R. Horton, a proposed development right there. They've already got 1 or 2 similar to that up by Josephine, some completed, some are still having houses built in them. So that's, you know, that's the future, what we're looking at. And to compare, so that's kind of where we've been, kind of where we're headed, and then kind of this is some history of where we are right now. These are comparable rates to other counties our size. You know, you can see we have the lowest rate of any of those that are up there. I like to say we're better than Rockwall, because Rockwall has 15 miles of roads and we got 1,200 miles. A third of our budget goes to roads. If you take a third off our budget, we're running our government cheaper than Rockwall is. And these other counties, very similar size to us, similar population. Some of the difference with some of them is just they've got debt where we have almost no net debt. We've been trying to pay for everything out of our fund balances, and a lot of that was been accumulated, like I said, through COVID. So we've been trying to do improvements and all with the monies we have, and try to get it to a point where we're not having to go out to borrow money. So we got 4.2% inflation rate average over the last 5 years. Looks like we're still sitting around 2.5%. The state's trying to pass. I got emails this morning, some of the commissioners, y'all may have seen it. Looks like the Senate and the House of Representatives in Texas is fixing to cut us back to a minimum of 2.5% increase in spending instead of 3.5%. And one of them is trying to make it 1%. And we have inflation of 2.5%. We got a growth of 4.2%, which is probably going to end up growing to more like instead of a 4-point growth rate, it's probably going to be closer to 8 or 10%. And we're supposed to be able to live on the same money we spend every year. So this is a chart I showed last time, but it wasn't quite clear, so I'll make sure it's clear. It's property value. If the property value is $282,731 in 24 versus 25, the increase in tax rate we're proposing is $46.64. Now, if your house has been appraised higher or lower, those are going to be different, but just as an example that what the effect of it was. And also, we had some people last year say that they were paying $9,000, $10,000 in taxes, acting like it's coming to us. If only a small part, you make out your check for taxes to the Hunt County Tax Office, and then they disperse them. They're the collection agents for all the entities within the Hunt County. Those monies come into there, and then they pay it out to the respective entities. So the part we get is only more than hospital and quite a bit less than a city or school district for sure. So what all services does the county provide? We got, of course, the main ones, road and bridge. We got law enforcement. 60% of our budget, I'm going to do a slide at the next one with a breakdown of all of this, but the law enforcement, prosecution, incarceration, and probation, and adjudication amount to over 60% of our budget. So 60% of our budget we spend on keeping our community safe. And we got Homeland Security, we have Health Department, we have a Veteran Service Department, voter registration. We handle all the elections for all the entities in Hunt County. They all reimburse us some fees for the workers that day and a small fee for the equipment uses, But we foot part of the bill for all of the elections, but they do all contribute to some of it. We got vital records, the district and county clerk both. County clerk's got your birth certificates, your marriage license, your deed records, your some of your personal property, your probate information. So it's all provided, and we got many other services that support the county, the IT department and facilities department. We have a lot to take care of. We have over 400 employees, and we stay busy. And the purpose of the tax rate that's been proposed will help to address the growing concerns, needs of an exponentially growing Hunt County, strengthen law enforcement services by adding 4 additional requested law enforcement positions, and provide a balanced budget for future needs and for future growth needs. I've said it several times during some of these meetings that we've had a negative fund balance for a number of years, which all that does is it's negative enough that the next year those costs are still in there. So the growth we've been getting just kind of covers up the deficit from the year before. Sometime we've got to get past that and get up to a balanced budget. Then there's a real good chance for some period of time, at least, that we can get some growth just out of what our new growth is. The new money would cover a lot of our growth in the county. But if we don't get to a point where we at least got a balanced budget, that's going to be we're going to be chasing that for a long time. And now is as good a time as any to try to accomplish that. So that's the end of my presentation. Commissioners, you got any questions? No comments right now. Is the public got any comments? Any feedback?
Judge, I have one question. Did you, when you were doing your analysis on the revenue growth, things like that, and you may have, we was going through a lot of data, did you do anything on cost growth? Did it match their cost growth and look the same as their revenue growth?
No, well, no, it's not, because, like I said, when we've been working on a deficit budget, it's not, that's what we're trying to catch up to, so it is. But everybody talks about our spending, but the income's a big part of it too. And like this last year, we were able to cover last year, we had $1.4 million in ARPA interest that we won't ever get again. That was a one-time deal. We will have a little bit of money maybe out of ARPA interest, but it's been mostly spent down. We might have another 100,000 or so over the next year or two. We collect, I think we budgeted $8.5 million this year for sales tax. Last report I saw, we're at 7.5. We got 2 months left probably to get those monies in from the state. But our revenue, it stays pretty steady between whatever the property taxes are, and then it depends on what we get from either interest rates or sales tax after that. The sales tax and property tax are the two biggest revenues we have. Of course, in 19, 20, 21, 22, we got zero interest on our money. And we were having to work off of just really our tax rate and our sales tax. But I lowered the expectations for interest this next budget year because it looks like we're going to be 200,000 short in our general fund interest money being earned because the interest rates have lowered from, at one time we were over 5% on our money and our funds, and now we're down to 4.2, I think it is, interest. And looks like the feds are going to cut it in September. It's a big guess on what Powell will do at the Fed, but it looks like they're going to lower it some. If it does, then that'll lower our revenue.
Judge, I can't remember. Was the increase in appraised value since 2010, was that 163%?
Which one now?
The increase in appraised value.
From 19 to 26? Yeah, the second slide was 19 to 26, and the property growth was 163%.
How much money are we talking on new growth this year projected? Just off of appraised value?
We had 2.4 million, I think it was.
2.4.
I'll double check that and make sure, David, but memory, I think that's what it was.
And are we still working on getting the correct number to work off of? Because we got a letter from Mary that they may be doing the wrong figures Friday.
I talked to Mary. I totally disagree with her. I've talked to Purdue Brandon's attorney, Bruce Medley, who teaches the class on that form, and he says we're using the right number. And
so is this good, Mary? Do we work off this or not then, that you gave? Oh, you have or haven't?
I've updated the one that I gave you last week.
Okay.
After Stovall's and our conversation on Friday, I also went out and started doing research and have found that we do have to put some money in there for the freeze property. The way I've recalculated with a formula that I found online that the surrounding counties are also using would yield about a $2.1 million decrease in our revenue.
if you use the number that the tax office and you were saying we should use off of the calculation sheet, that number was created by the statute, and I can't quote the tax code, but it says that all frozen property should be listed as their full value. And if you take out the full value, and well, the easiest example for me to say is, if we'd have done that last year, then the tax office has collected $2.2 million today, too much. We'd be collecting $2.2 million too much if we'd have used that number last year. So the number we got this year is projected to be where we're at. The budget we used last year and the values we used last year were at 96% collected. So I don't know. Sure.
Lane wants to come up there and speak because we've also been in contact with Bruce Melody, and we actually have an email from him.
Okay. He said we could do either one, is what he told me.
Yeah, he said that he does not recommend using the full amount because you're not going to collect the full amount.
And I told him that. We estimated 98% collection this year, and we're at 96 right now.
Right. So yes, you do expect to collect, if you exclude the freeze amount, you do expect to collect close to 100%, if not 100% of the remaining taxes. But, and you would account for that. You would expect to have an overage because some of the freeze accounts are going to pay. But he said that there was such a low percentage that you don't want to account for that originally. And what I was basing my information off of was the fact that the comptroller excluded that amount in order to calculate not the no-new rate, the voter approval rate, the debt rate, and the de minimis rate. So if they excluded it, then, I mean, they are saying that that is not really a reliable value to calculate with.
The froze rate?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not,
The-
I mean, it's a made-up
the-
number.
Yeah.
It's just a number pulled out of the air. Because it says that you shall, and Brent South has to put it on his certificate to us, the total value of frozen property. And we only froze property in 22.
Right.
22.
And so you.
And all you freeze is you freeze what they pay that year. And now if you use that number you put in of 1.5 or $9 billion in frozen property, there's no way that number means anything. It's just a fictitious number. I asked Bruce Medley, I said, why in the world is that, why do we put that in there? And he says, it's in the statute. And I went and got the tax code and read it, and it says in the statute, you shall do the full value of frozen property. But they still pay taxes. Now, Bruce did say,
Some, not 100%.
well, he said like 3% of them won't pay. You'll lose about 3% of it, is what he said to me. But if you're over 65, what he said was, no, everybody that's 65 and older and frozen their property, they don't have to pay their taxes. And you can't foreclose on it for taxes, but they will get paid when you die or sell the house or whatever. Your estate will pay those taxes, so it will get collected at some point in time.
And that will be collected as delinquent taxes.
Delinquent penalties and interest.
It's not going to show up in your current budget.
And it's not going to show up, but we do have it in our budget, and this year we've collected $1.2 million in delinquent taxes, penalties, and interest, if my memory's correct. So we collect penalties, interest, and bad, delinquent taxes every year, and we budget for those.
If you go from 21 to 22, as you stated earlier, where you've got so much money that you don't know where to spend it, you adopt a freeze in 22, and then suddenly you're falling in a deficit every year. I mean, you've got to look at, what changed? Why did I have all this money over here? And now, after the freeze was adopted, why not? You can't continue to calculate the same as you did before the freeze because the values are not the same. You've got to account for that loss, or you're going to think you've got more money coming than what you're actually going to have.
Well, what we're doing now is 96% collected today. So I don't understand why you're saying we got to account for it, because we are.
Well, if you're
I mean,
in a
this last year-
deficit, if you
Because we overspent, because we're trying to spend our fund balance down. If we got a big fund balance, the only way to get it down is have a deficit budget. So we had piled up a huge fund balance because of COVID. We stacked up some money. We've been trying to spend the fund balance down. We have to maintain 12.5 million in our fund balance by policy. We have a policy that our Fund 10 fund balance has to be 25% of the budget. The road and bridge has to be 15% of theirs. That's our fund balance policy at the county. Our fund balance projected after this next year, I think it's 16 million, Bernice? 16 point something million projected fund balance. So we've spent it pretty much down to the point where we're getting close to where we're going to be at our fund balance number. So if we don't have that fluff in there like we've had the last several years to absorb that deficit budget, and the only way you can spend the fund balance down is to have a deficit budget.
Well, and also I'd like to add that I've worked here for the county since 2013, and we've had a wage increase every year until this year. And we go from, we've got so much money, we don't know where to spend it, to, I don't even know if we can pay our employees. I mean, something happened.
Yeah, last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, or 2022 when the freeze was adopted.
Yeah.
That happened.
Lane,
Judge, are you saying we actually are in good financial shape right now?
Yeah.
We are?
Yeah.
then why is it that we can't do some type of increase for the employees in their pay raise?
Ask all these
Hey,
guys. Ask all these
Hey,
guys.
Let me say this. We're elected officials, all of us.
Mhm.
We know what the job pays when we run for it.
Hmm?
So do we really need a raise? No. But we need the employees a raise if possible.
Well, Randy, I proposed a 3% increase. And the court says we got to go keep it down and get it to less than
I
that.
seen it online where you
Yeah,
said that.
I did 3%. I don't,
I didn't see nobody raise their hand and say, I vote against it.
they
They ain't voted.
y'all want a
yet.
3% raise?
I think what happened is whenever the initial budget submittals came in, they were so much greater than what the forecasted revenue was, that was one of those things that was gonna have to give, along with several other things. I would like to see a raise as well, but if I don't wanna create a bigger deficit with that as well. That was, I think, what the court was looking at the first
Wipe
time
out
around.
wipe out all the raises for the elected officials. Take care of your employees.
I have no problem with that.
No, I don't either. I've said it for a number of years.
I just don't think,
You know,
at the end of the day, that
raises
doesn't
are
save that
nice,
much.
But
Well-
when we run for the job, we know exactly what it
Yeah,
pays.
absolutely.
Well, in fairness, Lane said that we got them every year. Y'all got $500 a year raises and $1,000 a year raises for a lot of years, back in those 2010 through 2017, 18
When Judge-
time.
You talk about when Judge Horn
When
was
Judge was Horn here, and I think the most you ever got was like $1,500. Huh?
1040, because annually, most of it was like a little over $1,000.
Right.
1040,
Yeah.
look forward to every year.
Yeah, it was like $1,000, and the
Oh,
and
yeah, I do remember that, yeah.
and so
Better than a slap in the face.
to stand up here and criticize us now, because 2 years in 20, I have to go back. I know I'm being recorded. You can check me, but I'm wrong on probably the years. But 2020 and 21, 22, we gave 10% raises. And then in 23, we gave 5 for 2 years in a row, or 3 years in a row. And we've given substantial raises, substantial
I'm aware.
raises.
I'm aware. But you
And
said
we've
on that
hit,
slide a while ago, what is it, 4% increase on everything? 3-4% in cost of living?
2.5% is inflation rate. I don't remember a cost of living. The COLA, we haven't talked
So,
about cost of living.
Economy goes up, gas is going up, everything's going up. But yet our-
Trump's in office, gas is going down.
Well, it depends on what day you fill up.
It is right, you're right. It bounces everywhere.
It does. Up and down. How it can change over 30 cents overnight is beyond me. That's beside the point.
Well, I think our way, in fairness to our employees and all, we wanted to give some amount of raise. Just don't think it's in the budget. As far as what I've heard, I'm still open to it. But we worked real hard getting the sheriff's office and jail up to where we're competitive with all the surrounding areas. And Sheriff, I think we're still pretty close, aren't we? And then, they're the ones that we are easy. Some of the ones that we can measure with other counties, we're doing real good shape. That's why we're full. If we had a 20% vacancy in our staff, or we had 20 people not even here, we'd have to look at our payroll. But our payroll, we're full at the payments we're making right now to our employees. So it's hard to say we're underpaying anybody when there's people in here that want the job for the amount of money we're paying.
Yeah, and we deserve pay for the officers.
I agree.
What
I
they
don't.
Put their life out on
I wish we
the line.
all got a
Terry
raise.
deserves something.
We all want more
He
money,
does.
but we just all
Yeah.
can't get more
And
money.
my staff, we're the one that pulls all the money in.
Well, it's your
Correct?
job. Yeah, it's
Am
your.
I right or wrong?
It's your job, so
That's
you're
right.
supposed to be rewarded
It comes in
because
one
it's
door,
money.
and it goes out the other door. That's the way it is. My girls work hard.
I know.
Make sure the customers are taken care of.
I guarantee you, every department up here works hard. You're not the only one.
I realize that, Judge, but I'll put my staff up against anybody's. I got a great bunch of girls. Terry's got a great.
We
pretty
got
much
a good
everybody's
group of
got
people.
great, but my girls, they work hard. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
All right. Anybody else got any comments on the budget?
Judge, has your office calculated what the adopting the no new revenue rate would generate in revenue?
I know we have at some point in time. I don't remember what it was.
All right. When I calculated, and me doing math, you got to be careful, but it showed that rate would generate in excess of $4 million in new revenue. And I mentioned that just because we have to bear in mind in this conversation that the taxpayers have to be considered in this, and many of those taxpayers are also our employees. So yes, we want to give them raises. We've done. I think the court has rightfully been committed to getting salary up. But in order to continue giving salaries in the future, we have to maintain a good fiscal position. And I don't know that that is accomplished accomplishing that on the backs of taxpayers by a tax increase is what we need to do, or what our people want us to do. I think the numbers show, just with all the appraisal increases, that there is a lot of new revenue. Even the counties you showed as examples, the one with the tax rate closest to us was the one with the appraised value that was the closest to ours, and it was actually pretty close. But ultimately, I'm not here, I don't represent Liberty County or Victoria County. I represent Hunt County, and so I have to consider what we need. If we are generating for, I think last year, I haven't updated it to account for this year's number, but the numbers I calculated were that the no new revenue rate generated about 5% in new revenue to the county annually, which exceeds the rate of inflation, which is inflation that's hitting all of our employees and our taxpayers as well. So it's just not, it's not correct to say that if we adopt a rate that does not increase the tax bill to our taxpayers, that there's no new revenue coming in. It's confusing because it's misnamed. I talk with people all the time about that. But there is new revenue coming in. I don't think we have a revenue issue. I think we have, we need to look at our spending. I think that's where the issues primarily
Have you looked at
lie.
our revenue projected for next year?
I'm sorry?
Have you looked at the revenue projected for next year?
Yes, sir. At which
It's
at which
about the
rate?
same as it was this year if you went to no new revenue rate. We had, like I just said, we had $1.4 million in ARPA interest that we won't get this year. So that got taken out of next year's potential revenue. There's $1.8 million in there that is for that GASB. We've talked about it once or twice before. A GASB placeholder, because when we lease equipment, we lease cars, whatever, then it has to be accounted for the total value over the life of the lease, or however they calculate it. Last year it was a 1.9 offset. This year we put 1.8. We haven't put in as many vehicles, and our budget for next year is not calling for any, so there's no budget in there this year for that offset, even though it's just, to me, it's a fictitious deal. You've got to put out fictitious number. This is what you're going to spend, so you got to offset it with fictitious rates of revenue. So in two line items, we lost $3 million. And that's about the increase you're talking about. I mean, it's to get to a balanced budget. Now, if you want to go to no new revenue rate, we'll have a deficit budget because we don't have the revenue to offset it. That's I took the budget and got the budget by everybody's request, everybody we heard to, my direction I believed I was getting from the court, and we got a total spend, what that was going to cost us, and then I calculated a tax rate that would give us the revenue that we needed, taking into calculation the other revenue also. And that's to get us to try to be, and we're still $1 million. I put $1 million in contingency because we have to have contingency. We cannot spend money if we don't have it budgeted. So we have $1 million deficit because I hope and pray that we don't have to spend that contingency money. But if we do, then we have to be able to spend. It'll be an emergency. We have to spend it. We have to have budgetary authority to spend it. Now we've had some changes. The state gave all the judges an increase that affect our budget. We have now have now got that in there. That just recently happened, so we've got those numbers put in, so it's gone, and it's throwing us into a little deeper deficit. Bernice, you have that? You know, it's like a couple $100,000 total is what, we've had some amendments to the budget for different things that have had to be put in there, but it's still pretty close to being balanced. And we can either decide that's what we need to do, and, you know, it's up to the court. It's not up to me. That's my proposal. I've made my argument, and if y'all vote me down, I'll get up and come back to work again tomorrow. I mean, that is my opinion, what I think is best for the county. And I think that's the best for the future of the county. We got to pay it sometime, and with the state continuing to take our power away from us. You know, it's amazing to me, the state can have a $60 billion excess last session, a $30 billion, and they don't even talk about lowering sales tax. But by gosh, they're going to get us. And they know nothing about it.
Judge, I don't know.
Come to the mic. I don't care if you speak, but come to the mic.
It's something I want to keep in mind. And that, you know,
State your name for the
Terry Driggers, 1596 County Road 3128. I think I'm educated enough to speak on property tax. I serve in over 15 counties, Hunt being the biggest, some 3,000. There is no magic math to it. Now, I can stand up here and say that I'm disappointed in the judge, but I can also stand up here and say I have to agree with him. I'm big enough to do that. Property tax is a mess, and we got a bigger mess coming at us right here in our own county. So I just said in a conversation of 100 new homes that have not had a payment made on them. That's a mortgage payment, meaning taxes wouldn't paid either. Now they're the lower end, okay? Now I'm not saying that it's the new development coming. It's not that. But we're fixing to deal with our own foreclosures here. And I know the judge has seen this before. I've lived it when I first came into this business. We're going to see some more of this, which is going to make that number different on what you get.
History always repeats itself.
Yes, sir, every time. We have a problem, okay? Our values are all over the place. I don't care what the recording says about being equal and fair. They're not. We have a bigger problem in ag use and who gets ag and who don't. Guys, I could show you thousands upon thousands of acres that are in ag that ain't seen ag in the last 20 years. Some of it I just recently leased and trying to rebuild it and redo it. We have a problem. Some of it is a who's problem on who gets the deals and who don't, okay? That lies with our appraisers. We have a very, very weak appraisal system here. I know you stand different, but our appraisers are very weak, very weak. Most of them aren't from here, don't understand our people, don't understand our values. And if it wasn't for MLS or some realtor giving them information, they would very little have nothing. We have a problem, a major problem with property taxes. I would not count on the big number.
We're not by ourselves in that, though. There are not many counties around.
No, I agree. I agree. I worked 15 different counties. My goal was to work 51. I said at 15, I'm done because they all have a problem. But guys, we are good. Things are good in Greenville. Things are good in Hunt County. Things are good in Texas because they're all coming here. But there is an outlying problem looking at us, and we will have some foreclosures, and your numbers will be down. It's going to happen, and probably happen in the next 2 years. But you can have 100 houses that we're aware of now that have gone a year without any type payment. So he's right. And there is a loss, and you're not going to collect 100%. And I'm totally against the freeze. I don't mean that toward your office. I'm totally against the freeze because I see what it does to families. I live it. I see it firsthand when mom and dad didn't pay their taxes the last 10 years. The kids inherit it, and there's a tax bill with penalties and interest that are more than the tax bill on a $20,000. I bought one, and I got sued for $32,000. Somebody didn't pay 12 years ago. I find it funny.
Terry, are you referring to freezes or deferrals?
The referrals.
Deferrals.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but the freeze works a lot.
You can defer.
Yeah, that sort of works the same.
It's all part of the same.
Hand in hand. And so to me, that's dangerous because we're seeing young kids, families come in regular that they were talked into doing this. Reverse mortgages, that's another sermon. They're no good. There will be a change, and you won't have the dollars that you expect to get. I promise. It's staring us right in the face right now. So that's my dime.
Thank you.
Can I say one other thing?
Yep, come to the mic.
For a second?
Say your name so everybody on the,
I'm Randy Weiniger.
get to the mic, and then get to the mic so they can
Randy
hear.
Weiniger, 7406 Carroll Drive, tax collector. So the big number that you receive is a certified roll number. I want y'all to remember one thing. There's no way that we can collect everything that's presented, simply because there's numbers on that row that's delinquent, not in business. The appraisal district don't take it off. We've told them that it eventually comes off. But I know there's one business right now that's been out of business at least 3 or 4 years. The guy's been dead, but he's still showing up on the tax roll. Why they don't take it off, I don't know. Maybe, what do they tell us, Lane? Well, they need to contact our office and let us know. That's the only way.
That they're dead?
They need to.
You may laugh, but that's true.
I know. You said have them contact, but who?
I mean,
The people that are dead?
Somebody was looking for a gentleman not too long ago, and I'd actually traced it back. The lawyer called, well, do you know how we can get in touch with him? I said, yes, I do. He said, such and such cemetery, he's been dead for 3 years. Oh, well, we didn't realize that. No, I take that back. It was the appraisal district. That's what it was. It was one of the
All right.
ladies at appraisal.
Thank you.
Anyway, just keep that in mind. We can't collect the big number because it's impossible. So,
All right.
So, John.
Oh, yeah. Come in. We want to hear from everybody.
John Kelso, 6005 Horn Drive, Greenville. Okay, I've heard a lot of discussion about freeze, tax collections, tax rate, 98%, 96% collection rates. And I'm confused, and I just want to make sure you guys aren't confused. Okay, my taxes were frozen in whatever 2022 you said. I still pay my.
I think 23 was.
I still pay my taxes. I hear all this discussion. It makes it sound like everybody who had their taxes froze, you can't count on them. I don't understand that, because just everybody that's 65 that filed for it and got their taxes frozen, they still paying their taxes. So I hope y'all understand what everybody's talking about, because I sure don't. But
well, I made a statement. The attorney that was talking to us said about 3% of that you can expect not to collect out of that.
Sure, you're not going to collect 100% of
collect it
anything,
anytime.
but just because it's a frozen, I don't think you should discount everything that's frozen in 2022. Let's don't count on it anymore, because none of those people are going to pay their taxes. I don't think that's true. I think we're all paying our taxes. 98% of us are. It's just not how much you want. It's what was paid in 2022. It's
keep
frozen,
paying the
but we're
same
still
amount.
paying it.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure y'all have that
John,
figured
I
out.
think there may have been some mix-up about the difference between freeze and deferrals.
If that's what it is, there's a huge mix-up, because if what they were talking about, every time they said freeze, they meant deferred, that's completely
No,
different.
within the freeze, if you're over 65 or disabled and maybe one other, you don't have to pay your taxes.
I understand,
But then it accrues with penalty and interest, and somebody's going to pay for it.
That's only if those people choose to defer.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that many people deferring their taxes.
Only people that do that, you just can't afford it. They
Yeah.
can't buy groceries,
Yeah,
so they
just
can't pay
because
taxes, and
we
that's
were
what they do.
65 in 2022, we're allowed to have our taxes frozen. I don't think very many of us are deferring our taxes. We're still paying them. So make sure you guys understand what people are saying, and you know what they're really mean to say. That's my only point.
Right. Thank you, John. Anybody else? Oh.
One more thing. So at some point in time, you guys are probably going to borrow some money. Going to have a huge bond for whatever reason in the future. Might be 10 years, I don't know. You might just keep in mind and find out how much does having a deficit budget year after year after year, and how big is that budget deficit? how will that affect your future tax or your future bond rate, borrowing rate? I mean, look at the hospital, right? They just got downgraded. Everybody that's a public entity should be thinking about that. You don't want to do something unwise that will cause you to have a lower interest rate when you go to borrow in the future. So I don't know if deficit spending budgets have anything to do with that. I would think it would, but I don't know. But you might just check and make sure if you do have deficit budget, that it's not so much that it's going to impact your borrowing rate come to the future. Because you know sometime in the future, you're going to be borrowing money. So try to protect that bond rating because it could save a lot of money down the road.
That's why we had the 25% cap on our fund balance, is because as long as you got cash and you can have deficit, as long as you got the money to back it up, it doesn't hurt, as far as I know. Because they look at both sides of it. We got a real good ratings. We're rated real high. Any questions or comments or?
So, yeah, one.
You always have a comment.
Yeah. So we're talking about revenue a lot. And I get it because, you know, one is it calculated right? And two, you know, how's it collected and what all does it apply to? But this is a math equation. Budgets are a math equation. And budget is one variable in that. And so I do think it's an important variable and we have to get there, but I also think we have to be looking at the baseline of our cost. You have to look at the baseline of your budgeting. You know, whenever we talk about inflation rates, you know, 2.5 current, but you saw the 4.2. Both numbers were there. You were right. You know, 4.2 is an average over the time, but 2.5 is where we're at today in the country. You know, one of the things that we had talked about, and Judge, and new to the budget process, so I know you go through a lot of iterations to get to a proposed budget. But, you know, one of the things that, and you can tell me if we've already done this, but I look at last year's budget as a starting point for everything, not necessarily what people are asking for. People ask for a new budget because they have needs, they have wants, they have desires. But I believe you always have to come back to at least what is your budget current, and is there any need for wants, needs, and desires? And whenever you're strapped on revenue and everything else, wants and desires go out the window pretty fast, and needs become part of the conversation. We had a conversation at one time as we were going through this process about 24-25 budget plus the ads, and the ads were needs. And those needs were things of compliance, like the election administration with the new districting in precinct 2. They're going to have some more voting equipment, those kinds of things. And then there were 2 or 3 other things that were necessities. And I believe even the sheriff's department, while we may not call it a necessity, I think everybody also always sees the need from where they're at as population growth and the jails are full, that obviously they have needs for bodies. And so to me, I think we should be looking at those on the cost side of, can we hold the budget we were at, add those things in. You mentioned there's some salaries that are impacted, you know, going forward, and see where that takes us to this revenue number. You know, are we within the width of a brick to where that we can make tweaks or be accurate? The extreme side of that, and I'm kind of going down what options we have, because honestly, I'd like us to leave with a path. I don't want to just keep talking about this. You know, we have options. You can let it ride. And I just heard conversations about revenue from individuals that I know a little bit, and I don't think any one of them are saying, I want you to increase my taxes, you know, because I think we need to, you know, take care of the future when it goes flat and some of the property tax issues goes on. That's what that says, but I don't think that's what you meant. You know, I don't think you want the big tax rate hike. I think there's a balance in here somewhere. I think our revenue is going to be where it's at with the no new revenue. I think our costs should be baselined against what we did last year and what we have to add to those, and see where those fit. And what are our trade-offs? You know, the answer doesn't have to be all tax hike or go rob the money from all fund balance to pay it off. We need to not try to make this thing right by flipping it this way. we need to slowly move to the center so that whenever that day comes where you don't collect, when that day comes where the appraised value doesn't go up, and so that you now have to be drastic. I would love to see where can we go look at? I don't want to go to the extreme on the other end where I go to cost, right? So what's your actuals? You know, you have what you budgeted this year, and you have what you actually spent. Those numbers will not line up necessarily. They'll get relatively close, but you know, that's a more extreme way. I'd like to get it close to where we say what our budget was, what we have to add, what does the new revenue look like, see where that puts us, and to the early point, does that give us enough opportunity to look at people's payroll, you know, at that point in life? I'm willing to bet you've already done some of the math and it doesn't. But I'd like to get where the court can be intelligent in the way it responds from a high and a low to get this to the middle where it's more of a balance.
Gary, I would add to that we need to remember that the decisions we make with this budget, you know, especially when we have things like a $3 million deficit that we're starting from, we got to make that up so that we're setting ourselves up for success in the future budgets, and that includes making sure our employees are getting what they need in those budgets. So we're starting a deficit, and if we can dig our way out of that, whether we adopt the no new revenue rate or something else, and I think people know which direction I'm partial, but we'll have the full value of that increase to apply to the needs of the county at that point. That's where getting close to a balanced budget is important. Now, the judge made a good point earlier that if you have a small deficit, you're not gonna spend your full budget across the county, and so you know you start to get that starts to get fairly insignificant when you start looking at a million or 500,000 or something like that. But we certainly got to get close to that or right there.
I've got a question. Just because we've had so many numbers looking at stuff, and I don't 100% understand the way all the tax breaks work, but our current budget this year that's approved we're working on $53 million budget. So I went to the auditor last week and said, where are we at on right now, what have we spent? And at the end of July, we had spent, these are rough numbers, $40 million. And so that leaves us almost $13 million left for the next 2 months, for the end of our budget. We've been currently spending about $3.5 million per month, so that's going to put us at $7 million is going to come out of that, $13 million. So that's going to leave us right at $6 million on this year's budget that we haven't spent. And so what I'm trying to figure out is, okay, well, we've got $53 million budgeted, and we're at the end of the year, and I know that number will change a little bit, but it's $47 million that's going to be actually spent on a $53 million budget. So that leaves us $6 million in surplus. So I'm just confused.
You're not looking at the revenue. You got to look at revenue too. Our revenue's way down. So when your spending's down and your revenue's down, that's where there's some differential there, because we're
Is it $6 million different?
It's at least 3 or 4, David. Let me see if I got it here. I don't remember.
But if we take 4 out of the 6, that still leaves us 2 to the surplus.
Our current budget for revenues was $50,984,000. And we've collected 46.1, so that's 3.8 million.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that number, Judge?
It's about 3.8 million short on revenue as of whatever the date this was printed. It says August 31st, but it's probably through the last court date.
So that actual number was 5,803,000, so if we're 3.8, so we're still right
And
at 2 million.
we're
I say, what are you forecasted to collect?
do I know?
By the way, everybody, on the submittal, page 5, those numbers are right there on page 5 of the submittal that the judge presented to the state. And so I was curious, so 46 is what we've collected, so do you, and how were you forecasting collections for August and September?
Well, but we went back and looked at August and September last year, and they were like 100,000 a month, I think. Bernice, do you remember? I think it wasn't much. It was way down for taxes. For the rest of it, our interest will come in bigger than, because I don't think we had our August month. I don't know when those come in. You know when Mary, when the
No, I don't think we're gonna get any more.
sales tax?
Sales tax we will.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When's the sales tax comes in normally? Does it come in the first of the month or end of the?
Yeah, we should get August in 2 weeks.
Okay, so they come in at the end of the month. So we got 2 more of those, which is going to get us close. But we're like 800,000 or 900,000 behind on sales tax right now. So if we get August and
As far
September,
as collecting, or what we should have collected?
what we should collect, what we budgeted to collect, we're $1 million short in sales tax.
So that year-to-date actual of 46 million, which is what you did at the time you'd submitted this,
Of revenue?
Yes, of revenue. Is that, are you adding $1 million to it, $2 million to it by the time the end of September gets here?
Let me see what mine is here. Yeah, we're still at 46,155.
So, not expecting a whole lot more than that.
Well, we're going to get some sales tax. We're not going to get much ad valorem tax. The other ones are not, there's not a whole lot of other big numbers. The biggest numbers you got are, well, you got ad valorem taxes and delinquent taxes and penalty and interest. The sales tax and then interest that we have earned are the big numbers in our budget. And the interest doesn't look like we're going to get there this year. We budgeted 900 and we're at 650 right now. So that's 50 a month.
So you're not gonna,
We'll get, yeah, we're gonna be short.
you won't go beyond 47,
Yeah, I lowered it.
48 million at the max.
I lowered it to 600 for next year because I think interest is even going down further, so, for next year's projection.
So if we assume, I'm just using round numbers, and I'll hedge just a little bit. For the year 24, 25, let's say we collected $48 million. That'd be high from what you're projecting right now. Probably 47 is probably more realistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's make it 47 then. And then the 24, 25 budget was 5984.
How much?
50, your current budget
For
24, 25, this year,
For-
current year we're in.
current year, for expenses?
I'm sorry, maybe I'm looking at the wrong page. What do you have for 24, 25 total budget for Fund 10?
53,382.
53, okay.
Yeah.
So that's where you're showing us 5 million short.
Yeah, when that was a 2.4 million dollar deficit budget. Currently, whatever, like I said, whatever date this is, we're, our our revenue is under expenses based on the budget by 2.3 million right now. That's the deficit. Actuals were to the good 2.4 on revenue coming in and expenses spent as of whatever the date this was. So we're going to have more expenses coming in and not much revenue coming in.
So when I took our current expenditures for the year and then just tried to forecast the burn rate out for the rest of the year, I was kind of ballparking the number around 50 million, 50.3 million. So that has us about 3 million off. If our expenses held steady state to the average per monthly spend.
Right. Well, I think we talked the other day, we got three payrolls in a week that will be charged back to this year. And every payroll is running $1 million a payroll, I think it is.
So it'd be an extra million to spend to the.
Well, it'd be three and a half. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying the burn would have already had another three payroll in it as far as average goes, but.
Yeah, well, when we were looking at it the other day, I don't think we've been paid since. I think there's still 3 left. I don't know where we are in the pay periods, but we got 2 in a week left. But as of this report, we had 3 left.
So you're guessing that probably adds about $2 million to that 50 burn rate?
Yeah, I mean, well, if I think the revenue is not going to increase much more, and the expenses are going to increase quite a bit. I think, but we're throwing dice a little bit. Maybe at the end of the month we'll have, when we get year-end or the August ending numbers, we'll be closer to being able to guesstimate through the end of the year.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to help with Commissioner Monroe's question. I'm trying to help walk down to where we get to what the this year gap is, because I'm trying to understand is if we stayed constant with our current 24-25 budget and dealt with our add-ons, then how much of an issue does that create in 25-26? I know it'd still be over. But I think the overage starts to come down. I need to be quiet, guys. I'm the new guy just asking questions. You other guys have been on this a lot longer, so.
I will study that deeper. I don't know that I can answer you right off the cuff, but, I know that our revenue's not going to be much more next year than it was, if at all, and our expenses have gone up a little bit, but without any big payroll increases, our budget's not going up a whole lot. Let's see. See if I can get to it right quick. As of this report, we had a $1,058,783 deficit budget with a proposed spend of $55,000 and a proposed revenue of $54,263.
Of which you'll take 98% of as far as how we calculate this, right?
Well, I took 98% out of the sales or out of the property taxes.
So that
I've already lowered it.
So the 54 is the 98%?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I did not raise, this year, of course, they vary every year, but we budgeted this year for $500,000 in delinquent taxes, and we got, as of this, we had $573, and we did penalty and interest $400, and we're like at $415. So I left the delinquent taxes at $500, and I raised the penalty and interest to $450 to just kind of guesstimating what it might be. Looks like that is trending up more than the other. The years prior on the delinquent taxes was 481, 469. We budgeted 500. We went a little over it this year. I don't know what that tells me, so I left it at 500. The trend was lower, but then under the penalty and interest, we've been collecting over 400 the previous year, so I raised it up to give us more revenue. The half-cent sales tax, I raised it 250,000 from 8.5 million. I raised it at 8.75 million, and like I said, we're at 7.4 there, so that's hopefully through 10 months. That's 750. So we get another 100.5 million in. Hopefully the next 2 months we'll be real close to the number. We'll be a little short.
Judge, it sounds like Ms. Lane's, Ms. Croxton's concerns are well-founded if we're coming in under projected revenues. So before we can have confidence in any numbers for any budget at any tax rate, I think we need to confirm how we're doing on that. And it may be very simple, but it sounds like we don't have that information in front of us. So I would request.
Well, we do.
that-
I mean, we've got, we're budgeting 98% next year. We're at 96 point something right now, I think's the number. We budgeted 31.9 and we've already got 30 million, nearly 500 in there. So we're $1.4 million short. And, we're probably going to be 97. We may all be 1%. I mean, we can lower this next year's projection to 97% or 96. I went to 98 because our collections have been better than that in previous years. But this year seems to be down just a little bit. I don't know why, but it may catch up.
So will the projected fund balance be lower or lesser at the end of this fiscal year?
With our last guesstimate of what we were going to end up, it was going to be lower by $2 million, $3 million. I don't remember the exact number. So I think we had 16 and it was 18 something last year.
Right. No, I mean above what we, above our budget. Are we going to contribute to the fund balance positively or?
No, it's getting
above-
pulled down because it was like 19 last year and we're projecting.
More or less above what we've already projected in the budget process. Are we collecting everything when the expenditures and the revenues and whatever numbers go into that number, will there be money carried over from the budget?
No, there's money coming out of our fund balance if my projections turn out to be true. Like I say, guesstimates will get better next week when we get totals through one more month. So.
So, Judge, from the original input that we got from everybody to the submitted budget that you had, can you kind of tell us the things that were reduced? Because I know, to your point, we have a lot of different conversations here. You're trying to figure out where opportunities are. So I know the whole, raise across people, the 3%, that number went away. What other things came down?
Well, the DA asked for 2 new positions that we didn't give. I think the health department asked for 1. The county attorney and DA both asked for increases for some of their people that were getting. That's a complicated conversation, but the SB 22 money, some of them that didn't get it got cost of living. The ones that were getting didn't get cost of living, and they thought that wasn't right, and we still left that alone. Of course, we didn't do a raise anyway, so it didn't matter. JP Quinlan wanted a part-time person. We didn't give them that. I didn't bring my sheet, Gary. I'll email you. We got a sheet of listing of all the things that we did deny. Or did we send that already, Bernice? Did we send the requested changes to them? The requests that were coming, we have a table of them or line items. We can send that to y'all.
And the sheriff made some adjustments as well,
Sheriff
right?
had first requested 7 deputies, then he went to 5, and then to 4. And we've got 4 deputies and outfitting them with the help of SB 22 money.
And you did incorporate where the road and bridge was.
Yes,
From the growth
y'all
perspective.
said you were going to hold your revenue the same as it was last year. We held that number and raised. That's part of the reason that our Fund 10 went up as much as it did, because y'all forfeited some of y'all's tax rate.
Judge, I know there's a number of budgets that had, in the proposed version, I wasn't able to compare all of them to the requested to proposed, but a number of departments that had lower budgets than last year, which first off, I appreciate those departments for being able to do that and working with us on it. But I saw also some of that decrease was from the enterprise line item being brought down, is basically be brought out of that and put into debt services instead.
Correct.
So there's roughly about 692 million in a total of about 1,000, sorry.
Yeah.
Take a zero
Wait a
off there. Yeah. 692,000 that showed in the reductions that also showed in the increase. So it was basically a wash.
It's a wash. That was just a wash. That's to help with that GASB calculation, other things they have to do, just get it all in one spot. So that was a request to the auditors, and I think our outside auditors maybe even requested that. So that, some of those went down because of that, but a lot, not that many departments have vehicles. And so it's not like every department. I think when I went through it, I found about 20 departments that lowered their budgets some, and 20 raised them, most of them, some a little bit, except for 5 or 6 of them. And some of those have been adjusted since then. And even some of the others went back and readjusted them. I readjusted, my budget was lower, but I went and adjusted it down some more.
Gotcha.
And I did some others. I took some monies out of some of the other ones also.
Is that part of what you submitted then?
Yes, I did. That was done prior to submitting the budget to the public, yeah.
Where's our cost going up from last year, or from this year to next year? Where's the biggest cost at? It's like, I think roughly $3-4 million more.
Oh.
Through the sheriff's department, or?
I think it's scattered through a lot. A lot of it, I think, could be the court system. David, I haven't looked at that in detail. I know facilities went up quite a bit because they got zeroed out last year, basically, and they didn't get any of the planned projects done last year. And so their budget went up, I think $1 million or something, $1.5 million maybe, because I didn't cut it because we cut it so deep. We cut them to the bone last year, and we got some things that's got to get fixed, both at the jail and at the courthouse. And then just some miscellaneous things.
It's showing on. Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Judge, I think you mentioned in a previous meeting, and the budget reflects it, that there was about a $642,000 increase in the facilities and maintenance budget to address some of those things that need to be taken care of, and there's a number of items, some of them small, some of them a little bit larger.
Correct.
Would it be possible to pay for those specific things out of our existing capital improvement fund, so we don't have to hit the taxpayers for that? We could do a transfer in.
Oh, we can always do that, but we're just kicking the can down the road, and we're going to pull our spending, or we're going to increase our spending and offset it with other revenues and monies, and at some point we're not going to be able to do that again, and we're still going to have increases. That's why I'm preaching we got to get to a balanced budget and not try to monkey with it. We need to get it balanced, and then going forward we should be able to take the growth of the new growth money should take care of most of our needs where we can keep our rate lower. But we've kept it so low for 5 years running now, or 4 out of 5 years. Some point in time, we're going to have to change it, either because we want to or because we're going to have to. Some point we'll have to do it because we won't have any funds left. If we spend it down until we're broke, or until we spend it down to our fund balance requirements, we'll either have to change our position on our fund balance, which would be a horrible thing to change, or we're going to have to start raising taxes.
So I think you project the fund balance at the end of this budget to be about, what was it, 18, 19 million dollars?
It was last year, that was it, and I think it's 16 or 17 this year.
All right. And in capital improvement, we have about, was it 13 or 14 million?
I think that's correct.
And of that, about 8 million had been, we expect to need about 8 million of that for the Puddin Hill project.
Correct. We're trying to bid it right now, so we'll soon know, but that's our projections.
So what I'm suggesting is if we can bridge the gap this year and we can get out of this big deficit, in future years, we'll have the fullness, or mostly the fullness of the increase in revenues to put toward these exact type of projects. We won't need to keep dipping back into the fund balance again and again. And of course, if we were to have a big bond or something like that, that's a different deal. I'm speaking primarily to, just the maintenance and operations, the ongoing daily work of the county. So I think
if you leave spending where it is and you take money out of anywhere and supplement that, and that revenue's not consistent, then next year's budget, that increased spending is going to be in next year's budget that'll have to be grabbed by any increase from growth. So you're going to keep pulling down any gain we might get from the growth. You're going to keep eating away at it till it's not its full extent. And if you're bringing in other money, just like that's basically what happened to us this year, we pulled in money from all different places, and it's not reoccurable money. Doesn't reoccur, but the expenses are still there. So you can't, you can do that. I don't think that's a good idea, but again, I'm one vote.
Is there room in the middle to squeeze both sides of the equation, not just one end or the other, to where we reduce our expenditures a little bit, we might have to raise our revenue a little bit, we can all, wrench our hands over that and get to something that might be reasonable and use a smaller amount of our funds so that there's not a drastic impact, so that we can actually bridge to a next step.
You can, but you're taking baby steps towards where you're going instead of, if you absorb it at one time, it's in my opinion, that's the jerk the Band-Aid off, don't pull it off slow, just jerk it off and get it done. And then next year hopefully we won't have all these discussions. We have the continued growth that we expect and all, and we can stay to a balanced budget and keep our spending where it's at, then we should be able to live off of where we were. That would be the hope. That's what, again, I'm one vote, but that's my opinion of 38 years of running my own business, that you can get in trouble if it's just like in your house. If you charge too much on a credit card, or you don't have enough in savings, or you start spending your savings down, you get married and you got $20,000 in the bank, and then you have a kid, and then you have to start hitting that, and then you have another kid, and then all your savings is gone. Now you're living on a credit card, and that's what happens to us in our families and in our houses, and that's what happens up here.
Don't disagree.
Yeah.
And don't want to create that for what we're doing.
We're in too good a financial shape right now to take this head on and for the future and take a small step forward. We're talking about, what was it, $46 on a $280-something house increase. We're not asking for the moon. I know a lot of people that's hurtful. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody, but if we're going to get there and represent our people the way I think we should represent them and what's best for the county, that's what's best for the county, in my opinion. And y'all can disagree with me, that's fine.
So your proposed rate, the increase was 1.6 cents?
Yes.
Is that, and so half a cent, I think at one time you said that it was worth, what, 500,000,
A
700,000?
penny's $1.5 million.
A
little
penny?
over that, I think.
So 750 would be half a cent?
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I mean, our tax, here, I can tell you. Our tax value we're using is 15,765,000. So if it's a penny, that'd be 1,576,000, but we gotta take off a little bit because that's not really our tax value. Our tax value is a little less than that. No, I think that may be our value. That is our value. That's after all the other stuff's taken out.
So if we took out a half a cent of revenue growth, right?
$750.
Be 750, and so if we could go find 750,000 to take out of expense, out of cost, then that washes, right? And we still keep the intent of trying to get our balance right on the budget. At the same time, we lowered a half a cent off the taxpayer. And we
I think
lowered-
that's the only, I mean, if we do that, then we're not hurting ourselves long-term.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
If we pull it out of anything else, we're hurting ourselves long-term.
So you couldn't split that between capital improvement and fund balance then?
Well, I mean, and again, you're adding $1.5 million then into next year's budget that you're gonna have to account for. And if we have the same increase we get this year, then you're eating $1.5 million away from what we'll have next year. So we're gonna continue to have this same discussion every year. How are we gonna get there? Yes, we can do it. We can do whatever y'all wanna do.
I'd like to do it together. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
I'd like to see it where we're trying to manage the tax rate to the lowest rate possible. Preferred no new rate. I know that's what everybody wants. But if we can if we can reduce cost, oh, by the way, nobody wants the services to stop. Nobody wants us to have a county that doesn't run good. Nobody wants the roads to go into more disrepair than what we're already dealing with. So you can only cut so far, you know, without damaging the services that we provide. I'm just trying to say, you know, can I manage them down together to where I maintain the integrity of what you're saying for the future budgets, and get to where maybe there's an increase, but it's not this, you know, 1.6.
I don't guess I think any of us are disagreeing. We're trying to figure out how to get to a point, you know.
Well, that's where I go back, where it is.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, but I don't know, you know, if you want to cut spending somewhere, and of course, then we're talking about, you know, people want to give raises. Well, that don't work. You know, we gave increases to the sheriff. We certainly don't want to take that away. Yeah, we can go cut some things out of some of the budgets that, you know, the trouble with that is most of our budgets, well, like I said, 60% of our budget are budgets we can't cut. I mean, that's the sheriff and the courts and the jail and all that, 60% of our budget. So we're talking about a pretty good cut on a small part of the budget.
I would suggest on the facilities, we've got $1.5 million or so in contingency. What if we split the difference, take 750 out of capital or somewhere meet in the middle, because those are just projected projects that we may or may not have to do. So if we don't have to do them next year, then we haven't spent the money, we still have it there. If we end up having to spend it, I mean, we've got $5 million in there. So if you hit it at 750, or if you can go the whole $1.5 million, you still have, I believe you still have a good cushion in there.
Well, I can sit down with facilities and go through all of it again, but what I understand is most of those, if you look back, were in last year's budget that got cut. So if we're going to cut them again, then we're just, again, kicking the can down the road. And when are we going, until it's, you know, I know we got an elevator at the courthouse that is going to have to get fixed. I don't even know that, I think he maybe even had put it off till next year because he had other things that had to get fixed at the courthouse. But I'll need to go back and check my notes. But, I mean, we got an old elevator on the east side, or west side when you come in, right by security, that it's broke about half the time. And it's the only one that goes to the 5th floor, which, of course, nobody's up there except facilities and the people that store stuff up on the 5th and 6th floor. The elevator on the other side only goes to the 4th floor. And that's a $500,000 or $600,000 problem. And we can't keep putting that off. And, I mean, we need to do the windows, but I don't know how we're ever gonna get that done and keep a historical marker out front. They're not gonna let us do anything except take them out and have them refurbished and put back in with the same glass, and I do not understand that. Why we can't, we got replicas that we can make that nobody knows the difference, and we can get energy efficient glass in it, and they won't let us do it. So,
Well, I think we've had conversation in the past that we haven't fully resolved about, whether or not the historical status was something to maintain or not. I think it's.
we got some liability, I think, to
Judge,
pay some money back.
Yeah, Judge, I hear what you're saying, and I fully understand it, and your concerns, I think are well founded. I think what the difficulty for the taxpayers is that if we have money in a capital fund that's not designated to a capital purpose, and we have capital projects that are non-reoccurring, yes, they need to be done, but they're not going to be done in every budget. I think it's a tough sell to say we're going to raise taxes while we have those funds available, particularly if we can, with prudence and care, keep our costs controlled in next year's budget and the budget following, to make sure that our spending is not outpacing our revenue that's driven by the growth in the county, which is, as we saw the numbers earlier today, is significant. And that's a significant increase to the county coffers, even without an increase on the back of the taxpayers. So I understand what you're saying. I don't think we're going to get where we want to be in one budget, but we can certainly put ourselves on that track.
Well, I'll humbly disagree with you. The capital improvement money is, we set it aside years ago for capital improvements, and now we keep trying to make it be part of our budget. Assuming we get Puddin' Hill done, get the bids in, and that's right, and we spend $8 million out of the 13. Now we're going to move departments out of the courthouse. We're going to move departments out of the ag building. Ag building's terrible. It's going to have to be reworked on. If we move the clerk out, then we're going to have to redo her area to put the district clerk to have another courtroom in there. So now you're going to get us broke, and we're going to have to go borrow money to fix those things that's necessary, or we can sit here on it and keep working on what we've been headed towards to get these things fixed for the future, because I'm pretty sure if we don't get that done, the district courts probably, I know at some point they're going to have to go. The last numbers I saw, they have 3,700 cases a year, and our county court at law has to do 1,000 a year. Between the two of them, that's each of those 30. The district courts are overworked. All they've asked for is give them another courtroom so when they're in trial that they can have a visiting judge come in and keep their docket running. And we got to have money to do those things. So if you want to keep spending the money down, you can. But then we're going to have to go to the public probably to borrow money to fix those things. And if you think we can get that passed, then that's your opinion. That's not mine. I think we're in a great financial shape right now. We've got things we've got to get done. We can do it without having to raise any more taxes. We don't have to go ask for any money, and we can get, if we can get all those projects finished, we'll be set to grow for a while. If we don't, we're going to be behind the 8 ball from now on. So it's, again, it's y'all's choice. I mean, I'll go along with whatever y'all do. I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm not mad about it. I'm just trying to be realistic about what I think we ought to do. And
I understand that, Judge, and I appreciate that, and the respect is mutual. But I guess my point, just to briefly expand on it, and then I don't want to be that horse after that, is that if we have, I think, roughly 5 million, sorry, I don't know why I did that. If we have roughly 5 million in the capital improvement fund that is for capital improvements, which I believe should include repair and improvements on our existing buildings and facilities, I say the 5 million number because I think we have 5.2, 5.5 in ARPA money, and about $8 million in cash that we think is going to take to get that building to where we can move departments into it, which leaves about 5 million left over. So what we see in the budget submission from facilities is roofing, rooftops, and replacing AC units. A lot of things like that I think falls very squarely into the capital line item. Stuff that maybe doesn't have to be done this year, but if we know and have a plan for necessary expenditures in the coming years, like you have the windows of the courthouse on here, and I think with about a $1.4 million price tag on it. But if we know those things are coming up, we can plan for them and factor that in our revenue. But right now, we just get the budget submission for this year. We get one number for the courthouse windows, and then we have $5 million sitting over there for just these types of items. So I think I'm not comfortable asking the taxpayers to pay us again for those projects to be done when the funds are already in our account to do it.
And that's fair. I mean, that's fine. If that's the way you believe, that's okay. But you do all of that, and then when we get ready to do some of those things, we're going to have to borrow money, or we're going to have to raise taxes. So if we're going to wait and raise taxes down the road, we're going to kick it down the road, and then when we get there, then we're going to raise taxes. It's probably going to be at a higher rate than what it's going to be right now.
I don't think we need to drain the 5 million out of there, but I think we can pull some out of there to help with some of the facilities projects.
We can.
To a degree, kind of like what you were saying, trying to balance it out that way.
Then if we can erase our deficit, or pretty near to, we can start replenishing our fund balance, which will help us to fund our fund balance, which we'll then have available to us to draw upon for future capital items as well.
If the state does what it looks like they're doing, the ability to raise our fund balance in the future is going to be extremely difficult. If they go to 1%, I don't know how we'll ever do it. If they go to 2.5%, I don't know really how we're going to do it. I mean, if we continue to grow, I mean, that cattle mills area is going to grow. Those people are going to be screaming at us to put an annex over there at some point in time. They don't want to drive all the way to the courthouse. We already have tax office and all in Commerce a few days a week in Quinlan, and there's more people live in Caddo, and they're not saying anything, but they're going to someday. And there's just so many things out there down the road and growth that's going to hit us that I think we're being irresponsible by spending money today that we know we're going to have to spend in the future. And a little bit of pain today is going to be a lot better than a lot of pain in the future. I hope I'm wrong, but that's the way I forecast it.
So there was one thing early on when I first came on the court that there was a discussion. It wasn't a burning platform by any means, but there was conversation about putting the exchange building up for sale. That certainly could serve to replenish the capital budget, right? Can that money come in if it's sold and then go into that bucket?
Well, sure could.
I know that's not necessarily directly tied to the budget here today. Maybe that's another conversation, but if that's a legitimate conversation.
Well, that will be a real conversation if we drain our money down.
Yeah.
It'll have to be a real conversation. Well, we can have it now. I don't know what the court thinks about it. I don't know what the public thinks about it.
Didn't we go out for RFPs or something on looking at possibly selling it, getting a valuation or something?
We talked about it, and then we never approved anything. I think what we talked about is getting an opinion on it or appraisal on it or something. That's been a few years ago.
Yeah, 'cause I'm sure its values come down a little bit in the current real estate market, but if it was worth $5 million, that kind of makes all this
Well, if interest rate comes down, then it might go up. If you can generate more revenue than you can make off interest, it might go up in value. Might be a good thing. It's probably gone down in value because interest rate was high enough. You could go put money in CD and make almost maybe that return. I don't know we'd have to look and see what that return it's making. It's in its own separate budget.
I think that would be something here that it's kind of capturing both of the philosophies here. There's nothing wrong with either philosophy. It's a way to allow both of them to actually win in the conversation and keep us in a good position. You know, big thing is do we want to be landlords or not? And I'd have to leave that up for other people's smarter than me discussion, but.
Well, timing is critical on that, and whether or not it's a good time or a bad time, we'll just have to figure that out. If it goes down to 2% interest rate or something, it could be a real good time. So do y'all, we can't have a hearing to vote on the budget until the 9th of September, which I think is the 9th. Jessica's at the next day, court date, the 9th. Has to be at a regular session. That's a couple weeks off. So anybody won't have another meeting between now and then to look at some of these things and discuss and come back and have it one more time before we try to go and try to get it approved? Or
I think we need another session to talk about it. We're too far apart on too many different things.
I'm good with that. When next week's a short week with holiday. Jess, you got the calendar?
And starting September 1st.
Yeah, we have to do.
Published 3 business days, not.
Yeah, not 72 hours.
Has to be posted on that Wednesday.
We're going to start posting Wednesday afternoon for a Tuesday meeting. So,
So if you're looking at that week, we can do the 2nd, the day we come back. We can do the 4th or the 5th.
The 4th's on a Thursday.
yeah. 5th, I don't want to do it early in the day. I'm out that afternoon.
You're not gonna be here, yeah.
I'm out in the afternoon of the 5th.
About the 4th.
I'm good
with
with
the 4th if everybody else is.
So make sure, Daniel, it's business days, right? Not weekends, because if it's a holiday Monday, that doesn't count.
We'll have to have it posted Friday.
If it's a holiday Monday, that does not count as business day.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Are we looking at Thursday afternoon?
I don't care Thursday. I don't have COG that day, do I? That's the next Thursday. That's the following Thursday, yeah.
I'm available in the morning, but have a conflict in the afternoon.
On Thursday?
Mhm.
I can do it in the morning.
Thursday morning, 10 o'clock.
Or 9, so we got a little more time in case he has to, what time you got to get out of here?
12:30.
Let's do it at 9.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, question, as we start looking at dates and times and trying to get to a vote, the changes that we talk about, obviously, at some point, you got to plug those in to see what the result is. What's the timeline? You know, one time we talked about a tool to where that you could plug it in and see it real time. I guess we're not in a position to do that right now. But if we all came up and said, okay, we'd like to go try this, go plug this in and let's see what it does. Is that a 24-hour, 2-week? What does it take to get that number back? What's fair?
Oh, it wouldn't take long, but it's, how do we do it? You can't come give me something, then somebody else give me something. We can't talk outside of here, right, Daniel?
Well, I think in the next meeting.
Not about that. We
I
can't.
think in the
So-
next meeting, we get to the point of, okay, this is what we'd
Everybody
like to
needs to
do.
bring in what you're gonna do, or appoint one that's gonna, you or David or Mark, whoever, somebody say this is what we wanna do, come in, or what they wanna do, and we can put that in as a change or request, but then we can bring the laptop in.
I just want to make sure that we're giving
Well, you
ourselves
got
enough
your
time to
laptop
get
with you,
numbers.
don't you? Maybe we can bring a laptop in and make the changes as we go.
Yeah, because that's the big thing. I just want to make sure we give ourselves enough time to actually see the impact of suggestions.
So we'll do that, and we'll put it up on the screen, and we can change it as we go.
I think that's perfect.
See how it works. We've never done that before, but
Yeah.
we can try.
It'd be good.
It's a new world.
Yeah.
All right. We good? We done for now? Next Thursday, 9 o'clock. All right. Daniel, executive session, line items 1 through 4.
Yes. You can just announce, we're going in under 551-071 and 087.
551 what?
551-071 and 087.
All right, so this time we're recessing into executive session under 551071 and 551087. And it's 12:44, and we're going into executive session. Right there. All right, let me know when we're back up.
My phone's on the fritz. All right.
Okay, all right, we're back in regular session, it's 1:50. Under action items number 5, the replat of Lot 4 of Clear Vista Estates in Precinct 3. I entertain a motion to postpone.
Precinct 2.
Precinct 2, sorry. Have a motion to postpone it till the next regular session.
So move.
Second.
Get a motion, second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Is there anything else before the court today? Being none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion, second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We're adjourned at 1:50. Thank you, everyone.